May it be an evening star shines down upon you. May it be when darkness falls, your heart will be true. You walk a lonely road, oh how far you are from home. Morning air, Weethley, believe and you will find your way. Morning air, our promise lives within you. May it be the shadows call will fly away. May it be you journey on to light the day. When the night is overcome, you may rise to find the sun. Morning air, believe and you will find your way. Morning air, our promise lives within you. Our promise lives within you.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
This psalm is one of confidence and trust in God. What does the psalmist trust God to do for him and to be for him? The Lord is my shepherd, the one who provides for my needs, protects me from harm, the one who stays with me, whatever happens, the one who is present with me in all life's ups and downs. Let us think first about God's provision. Green pastures and still waters, which are literally waters of rest. God provides for our basic needs, food and water and rest. He restoreth my soul. He provides spiritual healing and strength, and gives us the means to live a righteous life. But more than just our basic needs are provided by God. He gives to us abundantly from the riches of his grace. Thou anointest my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. Symbols of joy and celebration, and symbols of the Holy Spirit within. God's provision is full and generous, overflowing. Like any good shepherd, he also provides for our safety. He is concerned with our protection from our enemies and from evil. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The rod and staff of the shepherd, the club and the crook, serve to beat off wild animals and to rescue stranded sheep. God protects us from those who would harm us, and he protects us from evil. The valley of the shadow of death. At the time of the psalmist, death was a symbol of evil and all that caused fear, depriving a person of life, health, and joy, the gifts of God. God's loving protection is part of his generous provision for our physical and spiritual welfare. It enables us to live free from fear, trusting completely in him. He leadeth me, leading, alongside. Thou art with me, following. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Dwelling, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The psalmist is assured of the presence of God with him everywhere and all the time, at places and times of rest, in green pastures and beside still waters, and in places and times of difficulty. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. God's goodness and mercy, God's love and forgiveness surround and uphold him every single day, and he knows he will enjoy the presence of God forever. And that promise is for us too.
The Lord's my shepherd, I'll not want. He makes me lie in pastures green. He leads me by the still waters. His goodness restores my soul. And I will trust in you alone. And I will trust in you alone. For your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me home. He guides my ways in righteousness, and he anoints my head with oil. Your goodness will lead me home. And though I walk the darkest path, I will not fear the evil one, for you are with me, and your rod and staff are the comfort I need to know. And I will trust in you, and I will trust in you alone, for your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me home, and I will trust, and I will trust in you alone, and I will trust in you alone, for your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me home. For your endless mercy. For your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me home.
On the cooling breeze of a dying day, born of the warmth of the stirring spring, new sounds reach out from far away. These are sounds like bells that ring, a message of hope from eternity. It's a frail, weak sound of tremulous notes that ebb and flow on the varying beat of the winds that earlier dried the coats of newborn lambs who struggled to bleat, a message of hope from eternity. The deeper notes of mothering ewes call to their lambs to gather close, summoning too the nighttime muse to whisper gently to threatening foes, a message of hope from eternity. As the light fades fast and mist surrounds the now still forms of the flock at rest, one lost lamb yet bleats as it bounds in search of mother, from beating breast, a message of hope from eternity. When all are found and quietness drapes the cloak of calm on the now dark field, just the gentlest bleat barely escapes to hint to the world that it too can yield a message of hope from eternity. What can it be that tugs the heart, that catches the breath and cools the heat of a terrorized world being blown apart? It's the simple sound of a wavering bleat, a message of hope from eternity.
What does this psalm say to us? How do we experience God's provision, God's protection, and God's presence in our lives? We can acknowledge our dependence on God and our trust in Him, as the psalmist did, giving thanks to God for all that He gives to us, from our daily bread to our comfortable beds, and all His many other blessings. This thankfulness and trust, knowing God will meet our needs, can inspire us to act to meet the needs of others, the hungry and the homeless. Out of our abundance, personal and as a society, we can echo the graciousness of God and give freely and generously to those in need. as we are aware of God's protection and the safety that we take for granted. We can reach out to help those who feel vulnerable, lost, or in danger. God's protection gives us freedom. Freedom to live our lives without fear, trusting in Him, enjoying His many blessings, walking in His way, the path of righteousness, with His love and forgiveness in our hearts. Above all, this psalm is a celebration of the presence of God. In his letter to the Romans, St. Paul tells us that nothing can separate us from the love of God, and includes a list which lists many things, including death, and none of them can tear us out of God's hands. This psalm tells us the same. It is a joyful celebration of God's presence in the midst of all that life can bring: hardship, struggle, pain, joy, success, and plenty, and all points in between. It is a psalm of utter, complete trust, a psalm where you can put yourself in place of the psalmist and say, "The Lord is my shepherd," and have that same sense of utter dependence upon God, letting His love, His presence wash over you, releasing you and rescuing you from your fear, giving you the freedom to follow Jesus wherever He leads. That sense of freedom, of complete security, of knowing God's provision, protection, and presence is not just for us to relax and enjoy. It is also for us to share.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge over troubled